team or our team here today. But first, what we're going to do is we have a bundle here that we put together. We'd like to present that to the council at this time. What we've been doing is we've been touring and visiting all the tribal nations in Minnesota as far as an initiative to gather input. To gather input and priorities as far as economic development. And so this stop here at White Earth is stop number 8. Yesterday we were in Leech Lake. Our final stop will be March 30th in Prairie Island. So we've been pretty busy visiting different tribal communities, and so we're thankful for a little bit of time here today, but we're also thankful for allowing us to be a part of your meeting here. Today there's a lot of issues, and my own personal background is I have 13 years of education teaching, and then for the last 4 years I've been a tribal council member at Lakudere and 2 years as vice chairman. So I know what it's like to be in those seats and to hear and be kind of in front of the membership there to answer questions and be put on the spot. So I really can empathize with that. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask for a little time to talk to the money do real quick for this bundle. We'll present the bundle, and then we'll get started with our presentation, which won't take very long at all. So we appreciate the time that we've been given. Everyone knows Shigagi Masuno, Pedish Sana, the Wadukari Masuno. When you go there, I go, Kinemani to be Ajamon, Bikram, Sugar, Jigma, I go, we come with a month. Why you got that sugar sauce in one? Sugar, that sugar sauce, I go. Mingo Church Thomas, Kennedy, moved up in the city. I go, sugar, be doing, sugar, sugar, Kennedy, go, I go, the two now, I go,
Meanwhile, show more, if you need more. Meanwhile, show Newman, the Washington was supplicate, supplicone, was like, meanwhile, she was basically the Washington was new gay or new Jim. I go da wasa da ne meanwhile she go on the issue which I ima. Meanwhile she go meanwhile getting money ma. Go the scene by one. Meanwhile she go Walmart. The way meanwhile she go also in there. Dami. Go maybe Shabu walking was meanwhile, she was walking on that we saw down in the Kingdom of Sea, now she was casting all say. Meanwhile, she was go to the money to the Arjun. Meanwhile, she was in the Kingdom of Sea. We saw that one way to the so with that, if I just a little time to talk about this wonderful here that we presented, it's an honor, and it's something that we wanted to do where we work. We're from the University of Minnesota, the extension. My office is located. Don is also there, and Ron is located over in Crookston. So we all have different responsibilities and roles in our job. But what I wanted to do differently this time around, because there was a lot of, the university was using a lot of language like land acknowledgement and things like that as far as regarding, tribes in Minnesota. I thought it was only right to do things in a more culturally appropriate way. If we're asking to work with tribes and offering our assistance, we should do it in a culturally appropriate way, in a way that is respectful. And this way here is a way that I utilize back home. Like I said, I live a long ways away from here. I live in Couteret, that's where I'm from. And so I'm honored to represent my community there as Ojibwe and Anishinaabe people. And to carry this tradition forward, is something that all of our Ojibwe people do. And it's just a way of just making sure that our relatives have enough to get them through the winter. That's what this is all about. And so what you see here, what we have presented here is some blankets, 8 blanket that my mother-in-law made. She's from the Red Cliff Ojibwe community in Wisconsin. And also in there is some towels. I said that I bought at Walmart. They're made over in China. And then we also have some wild rice that was harvested in Dead Lake. And one of our colleagues, she's not here with us today. She's from Leech Lake, and her grandmother personally harvested that wild rice. So it's always an honor for her to share, her harvest with whatever tribes that we have the opportunity to be with. And then that maple syrup right there is, comes from Wadukadani, the Ojibwe Language Immersion School in my community of Couteret. Our kids they said they had a record harvest. So so when I was looking around for syrup, a lot of the kids, they offer up their syrup to give up to families. So that's what we've been. So that's what this bundle consists of. It's just an opportunity to offer our kindness and our respect to your community, your leadership here, and the people in your community. And we hope that this is a symbolic gesture that gets you through the winter. Winter's a historically rough time for all of our people, but we've been provided with resources in order to sustain ourselves and we act on it. So with that, I'll shift over to to finish our introductions, as I said, I'm a juice and Schlunder, and part of my expertise is in leadership. And as I mentioned to the council and for everyone here to hear is that I spent 15 years as an educator at a tribal college in different places around Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And also spent 4 years at our tribal government board, our tribal council. 2 years as a vice chairman, so I was sharing with them that totally understand their position where they are, doing the work for the people and listening to the people and making sure that they do the best that they can to represent the people's wishes. So it's a huge responsibility, but also from the community side too, being able to share their concerns and kind of hold them to to maybe their campaign promises and things like that they've shared with you and some of their objectives that they want to accomplish. So with that, I just want to say language once again.
I think you were on the mic today. I can just talk really, really loud. I have to get up and move over here. Is that what it is? Is that way everybody's here?
It's got fresh matters.
He knows how to do it. Okay, thank you. My name is Dawn Newman, and I'm a citizen of the Ho-Chunk Nation, so hopefully that's okay. I have been working for the University of Minnesota Extension for 15 years, and I worked for 2 of our 1994 tribal colleges here in Minnesota. I've been here for over 20 years, and I even worked for one of our IHS clinics here in Minnesota. So, in the past 15 years, though, I have been working for Extension and doing a lot of facilitation, strategic planning, action planning, that type of thing. And we are here to talk about economic development and a grant that we got. I don't know if this will work if I go back over there. Okay, so in working for Extension, we know that it's a big institution and they do have a lot of issues with racism. And so I've always been somebody that addressed that head on, and they never fired me. I'm surprised, but I'm still around. And in fact, privileged enough to have 2 American Indian educators now alongside me to move the work of leadership and civic engagement across the state. And so I'm super honored to have that. Colleague we have on our team is Fawn, and she got pulled away by Blandon today, so she wasn't able to make this particular visit. She does have a recording there, but I don't know if it's going to work without, if you'll be able to hear her. This went off again, so I'm not sure why anybody's going to talk about it. All right, so on did make a recording, but she was, doing her introduction as well. But we all have to see her. Okay, so, these are some of the guiding principles that extension has held fast to through, properly working through us here at the community. So, like I said, it's been really nice to have them really honest about some of the things that the university needs to change in order to work with and along with, Indian country. So they definitely have been, at least extension, I can't speak for the entirety, but definitely extension has been stepping into, a better way of working in the Indian country. So our objectives today basically introduce ourselves, which we did, to explore our interests in working in building partnerships across Minnesota, Indian country, and to better understand economic development and our priorities and successes. Basically, we were approached by Economic Development Administration, EDA, to write a grant, and the grant was awarded. It is a matching grant, and the University of Minnesota Extension paid for one of the full-time positions, and the EDA grant paid for the other one. So in writing that grant, we were able to hire 2 more educators who work in Indian country. And we actually presented this idea before MIAC, and I'm not sure, but somebody on the council here was at MIAC at that meeting. And we did present this opportunity, and the MIAC board did vote and said that they would also like to see an economic summit at some point. The economic summit would be to pull together all of the reservations in the urban Indian population to work collaboratively, because the Economic Development Administration would like to see more proposals done and submitted to them in a collaborative manner. So they're saying they've got funding for Indian country here in Minnesota, and they would just like to see us submit proposals across the state. So the summit will be an opportunity for us to take a look at all the priorities that each of the 11 bands have, and as well as the urban area, and find where there's some synergy and submit some proposals for some funding to get those going. And our role in that is to organize the summit, invite everybody to the summit, and right now we're looking at the end of August to hold this first summit, but we see it as an ongoing opportunity to get together and talk about economic development across the state for the community.
So as you can see, my role as an educator is to teach leadership and civic engagement. That's my job. And so this is usually on the part of the slide, but we therefore what we're looking at is a model which we implement. What we're looking forward to is the opportunity to co-create cohorts and workshops with tribes. So as you can see, there's different leadership models, and our approaches as far as extension leadership education is obviously first recognizing the leadership that, that one possesses, that has got this community, this tribe, this point. But also focusing on emerging leadership, experienced leadership, community leadership, and organizational leadership. Through those communities approaches is our goal, is to build confidence and confidence and connections with our board, that together, that we can together build and fortify a future, and strengthen leadership with these tribal nations. And that's the one thing that we wanted to emphasize, is that we're not here to tell anybody, especially tribes, on what you should do. we're here to listen and gather people, see what your priorities are, see what we can do to help. Because the university has a lot of resources at our disposal, but at the same time, we realize that what's unique about us, about Fawn and I, is that we have the ability to indigenize a lot of the curriculum that the university possesses, so we can put a face and a name that everyone in this state is familiar with, especially when it comes to tribal issues and tribal economics. That it's not, that it's not a non-Indian person, and no offense to any non-Indian people in this, in this building, but it's about trying to strengthen and fortify what we have, and where we're gonna go together. And so we want to show that it's benefit by having people in places as far as the institution, as far as higher education, of what we can do to utilize ourselves, our skill set, our expertise to help, whether that's the tribal leadership or if there's emerging leaders within your community to maximize that potential. That's what we look forward to.
Okay,
Well, so if you want to introduce yourself, so we have Ronnie here with us. We always bring somebody from our economics team to help us with our presentations.
my name is Monica Victoria, and I actually been working as administration since about 2012. So I've done a little bit of work with provider information. I've also done some work with government and province on understanding the local economy and how it operates up here. I have some work here. But basically what we do, which is a little bit different from our sister program, is that we actually do applied research with local communities to help them understand the local economy. So in the case of the study that we did back in 2016, we actually did a survey of visitors to introduce our casino to better understand their visitor preferences as well as their spending in the greater area for overnight stays, and recreation. And the tribe actually took that data back and shared it with other counties to kind of negotiate better terms of their relationships with their counties in the area regarding their taxation. But it's another program that we did was retail trade analysis in the Millman, where we looked at the market demand and the actual purchasing of different retail merchandise within the Millman area. And we've also done a similar program in Robin concerning the grocery store that goes there. We looked at the potential market for that grocery store and the actual market for that grocery store. So all of this requires a lot of work on the part of our team, as well as community members when we do our surveys. But we hope that after working with our colleagues and engagement, that the tribal community will be able to potentially live with us and the program and use economic. And then another program that is a corporate center is the tourism center. They actually do a number of different programs across the state where they come in and they help communities better understand their tourism assets. And one of the last conversations I had in the wider area a couple years back was around the topic of tourism. And I know that there's extreme interest in wider about developing their tourism assets and developing potential tourism opportunities beyond the casinos. So that's something that you may want to consider and move forward with capital campaigns as well. But our tourism center can help kind of identify some of those extra assets that would be on the casino and resort.
So this is our final slide, that we're just going to finish up. Are there any questions for us? And we can leave it up for anybody to ask us any questions that they want. our hope is just to kind of get an idea of what some economic development priorities are, because, as John had mentioned, you know, this grant that funds our project, you know, we have two major initiatives. One is to, increase per capita income and also reduce unemployment. So those are the objectives that we have for our EDA goal. However that looks, you know, that's what we're here to, that's what we've been to a lot of different tribal communities to just listen and to see what, you know, what your priorities are, and just offer our assistance in whatever we can do to help. As Don had mentioned, we look forward to, you know, putting a summit together, a tribal economic summit in August. And this first summit is really about celebrating what we have. So many times, a lot of tribes look at, you know, we're always looking up, and it's always seems like we're at a deficit so many times. But this is an opportunity to celebrate, you know, with all of us together in the same spot, in the same space, to share, you know, our tribal economic development success. And what does that look like? And so, you know, my personal belief is that we're all, you know, obviously I'm Ojibwe from Wisconsin. So on the other side of the river, I'm always thinking about, you know, it's better when we all work together and share the resources that we have instead of, you know, isolating ourselves and keeping ourselves separated from each other. You know, there isn't much degrees of separation. We've got relatives in a lot of different communities, and and that's more than enough that we need, you know, in order to do what we can to help one another as Ojibwe people. So, that's all I have. I don't know if you have anything else. We're actually looking at where we're gonna have the summit, but we're looking at Shakopee right now. And so Shakopee just built that new cultural center. And so we're trying to see if we can host something within that building. If not, we'll probably just move over to the event center and, you know, and utilize, you know, their other space that they have, you know, and let that be the jump off point for us. But we'd like to kind of utilize all of it, because a lot of tribes have really nice gaming facilities, and, you know, that, of course, that we want to showcase. Next one, you guys could also next one.
Thank you for lunch, though.
Because I know one of the things that we should talk about also here too is, you know, Red Lake and East Lake too themselves, we've been looking at revamping the edge of the tribal economic development. The Red Lake's been putting on for the last few years, kind of fizzled all again. We're looking at talking about that. We're looking at doing some type of power line initiatives, I think we buy it all together. I know there's a group out of, I thought it was last time, I don't know, Mayak or something, but it's a separate group where, a company wanted us to be a homeowner, or the company, sign or. We're all kind of very similar when it comes to, if we need, we buy chicken wings, we buy poultry, we buy, whatever we buy, we bulk, sandwich.
That's what the EDA is wanting to see done, just to grant, is really want to, see exactly that, and there's money behind it, help organize it, or whatever needs to happen to make that actually come to.
The good part about it, well, we have a big warehouse, we can utilize it,
Excellent, then hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that.
So if there's anybody, my last card was, bleach like yesterday, so so we can get you, we'll get you numbers and emails, things like that.
I did. Very neat.
Settle there?
Yes. Seems to be working this. All right, we're gonna make it work now after the we did a good moment. Relations. These are you plug into stuff. For God, because otherwise we get a chief of police driving across the road for 100 more hours because he left the power cord in his pocket. He dropped it out today.
All right, next up on the agenda is Joe Tanika and Carl, I'm sorry, it's Carl Peterman. Okay, an IT business opportunity presentation. Sorry about that, Joe. You're next.
Hello, my name is Carl Biederman. I'm the current Information Technology Director here in White Earth. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. I'd like to show you both an opportunity and a neglect obligation that we have here. This presentation is for the creation of a White Earth Technology Center. What is the White Earth Technology Center? The Technology Center is a solution to some of the needs the community has identified by members of the current IT department at the RBC. These needs cannot be addressed by the IT department, as the department's function is to provide support for the White Earth government and affiliated entities. The White Earth IT department currently does not provide technical support for anyone outside of the White Earth government and is not structured to provide services to the community. The department is dedicated completely to the needs of the government workers and services, which ensures and promotes a strong and secure government information system. Where does this leave the people in the White Earth community for computer services? There are no registered businesses that provide computer sales and affordable repair services on the reservation. Companies offer services from surrounding cities like Detroit Lakes and Twin Valley, but no one has a location for local access within the borders of the White Earth Nation. This means members of the community outside of government do not have local access to technology services. This includes computer and mobile phone technical support, affordable personal computers, electronic devices such as iPads, Chromebooks, entertainment systems, or skills training. The Technology Center would provide these services. Inexpensive computers can be made available by taking e-waste currently disposed of by the White Earth RBC and refurbished the equipment for resale. This equipment is not junk. Computers and electronics are usually disposed of not because they no longer work, but because they no longer meet the specifications for the jobs performed by the organization. In addition to used computers, the center can resell new computers and accessories from Dell, Lenovo, HP, or manufacture computers to custom specifications with new components. Provide computers at the store location that can be used for schoolwork, job searches, job applications, research, and entertainment. Employees can provide computer training that can teach people how to build a computer from components, load operating systems, use business software, and safely access the internet. High-speed internet access is not available in many locations across the reservation. The Technology Center would work on a solution to create a wireless infrastructure to bring internet services to locations with currently limited or no access. So what's it going to take to open the Technology Center? I'm looking at a location right now, the former Boys and Girls Club on 202 South Main Street, Monoman, as an initial location. As this gets bigger and as it grows, we can open up more branches in the different communities. Startup funding, these are high estimates. I'm not going to go through all the estimates. You have the papers in front of you. These are estimated costs for remodeling the location to be used as a technology center. This also includes establishing services, purchasing inventory, purchasing hardware for refurbishing reclaimed computers, and purchasing a computer company vehicle. As I said, these are high estimates and there's room for adjustment downward, such as, lower store opening costs, different things like that. There's a slide that has cost per month and year. The cost to run the business monthly is much lower than the startup. The budget for buying new computers and components should be growing from profits on sales. Here's our potential revenue. Now keep in mind, this revenue here does not include any grants that we've gone after so far, or any grants that we would go after. This is projected income per year from the Technology Center. These are low estimates for sales and services directly from the store location and do not include potential contracts and earnings from future projects. The groundwork is already being laid for potential contracts and earnings. So the Technology Center is not yet created. We have taken steps to establish beneficial relationships and with private organizations and government agencies for the purpose of future contracts and grant opportunities. Hold on right there a minute, Chris. I'm working on a grant from the Northwest Minnesota Foundation right now. I'm trying to work on $150,000 that would go toward educating homeless youth. That's something that you were talking about earlier. The Blandon Foundation, we have been selected as a Blandon community. for the next 2 years for broadband connectivity. And there's $75,000 there for a series of technology projects in the area. This technology center would give us a base of operations to run out these funds. I've been in contact with people who have DoD contracts available that we will be able to then partner with to secure these DoD contracts. I heard that was spoken of earlier today too. We have the people to get this technology center running and keep it running. I would like to propose that I take the manager position and lead the creation of this new business. I have the experience necessary to start and manage a retail location. With over 30 years in information technology, 10 of those years were in retail. Beyond my experience, I have the genuine desire to make positive change for White Earth. I came back to work in White Earth recently with the intent of helping to bring stability and organization to the department. Overall, I've invested over 2 decades of my life to White Earth IT, and I want to make sure that it remains strong and successful. I believe I've accomplished that goal. I would now like to put my experience and passion for information technology into benefiting the public. Well, it says there, I would like to leave my position as IT director, but as many of you know, I have already turned in my resignation as IT director. I am going to pursue the development and success of a new technology center. If it's not this one, it'll be another one. I'm asking you to let me do this one. For the position of lead technology center, I would recommend my current project manager in the IT department, Christopher Shockey. He's an enrolled member of White Earth, be brought in to fill that role. He has 20 years of experience in IT, retail, and is one of the reasons this technology center presentation is being given. He has a desire to do meaningful and beneficial work for the people of his reservation, and I believe this new center would benefit from his ideas and dedication to the success of this project. Once the funding is secured, work would begin immediately on remodeling the storefront location to make a free Wi-Fi area that people can come in, use the computers, get them set up, look at the computers we have for sale, and begin to educate people. Utilities will be established. Technician and intern positions will be posted. It's the other thing I'd like to do with this too. I see intern positions listed there. Right now, to bring somebody into the tribal government and try to train them, we have roadblocks in place. We've got MN Data Sure. We've got HIPAA compliance. It's hard to bring in unpaid people into those positions because we're dealing with confidential information. This gives us an opportunity to bring them into a safe location, and we can train and get them ready for the workforce. Merchant accounts and point of sale systems can be set up. E-waste reclaimed from the RBC, the Shooting Star Casino. And I want to open that up. I want to start collecting e-waste from other businesses, other sources. Large businesses are the best ones to pull e-waste from because they're typically handing out 15, 20 computers at a shot, and they're just throwing them away. If we can provide a source for them to get rid of that e-waste, we can refurbish it and get it back out to the community where it's needed. Establish this center as a vendor for the IT departments of the RBC and the casino. All the computers that the RBC and the casino purchase every year, we're handing a portion of those profits over to third-party vendors. We could provide those computers. They could come through a tribally owned business. Research and communications on projects and business contracts will begin immediately. As I said, we've already started some of this research in anticipation of this happening. I want it to be well prepared. That's the presentation. Any questions?
thank you for the presentation. This is, I think I really like this. Moving forward, I've felt that information technology, of course, is going to be the future. And with, from an educational standpoint, we talk about job training for the future and whatnot. IT certifications, would that be available to students or interns, current employees? And on top of that, is there any way that this might be able to segue into perhaps a coding education for the future?
Most certainly, we've already started looking at partnering up with A+. It's a technology certification that comes on. We've started looking at being able to offer actual Microsoft certifications through this. And most definitely, this would be used for COVID. Easily. I want to spread this out, and I want to welcome anyone that wants to come in and learn. You know, I'm not going to turn anybody away. You were asking about the business? Oh, okay. This is, it is a tribally owned LLC. I had Veronica check out the LLC. She's still open. This is the LLC, the White Earth Information Technologies LLC. It's not being used right now, and it's just sitting there doing nothing. Correct. And running it, it would run under the enterprises.
Or whatever. Is this possible you could turn this into a TV thing?
Yes, one of the things that we're already looking at doing is trying to fill in the wireless internet gaps that exist here on the reservation with our own network so that we could provide internet services. Yes, and become our own internet service provider. And once you have that backbone in place, then the option for adding telephony services and video services already built in. And those are all, you know, part of our larger plans.
Guys, before we go into like a option here, does anybody have any questions or anything about this LLC that we're going to create? And, you know, because we do have a lot of monitors and computers that because, you know, as you know, technology moves so fast. And, you know, I guess some of the stuff that we're trying to keep up on, we're moving inventory in and out is that it's stockpiling down underneath our steps. So I know that for a fact. But the other thing is too, is, you know, software, other things out there too. So, but I know there's some questions out there, so.
Like if you wanted to purchase like a gaming computer or something like that?
I would imagine we could probably work something out with finance department. I mean, that's, you know, for payroll deductions. Yeah.
I see I recognize that this is a very good opportunity, and from just a business standpoint, have you conducted a SWOT analysis on this situation as far as what you feel is potential weaknesses and threats to this business? We've talked about strengths and the opportunities based on your experience, education, and background, both you and this gentleman right here. I can't remember his name, and I feel horrible. Sorry, Chris. But exactly. So my question just comes down to SWOT analysis. Has anything along that line been conducted? Is anything you can share on that?
Well, I haven't exactly done a SWOT analysis, but I think we have looked at the different types of risks and points of failure in a business like this. And remembering that the main point of this business is to get computers in the hands of the people. I think the largest failure in that would be the employees. If we fail, that's the only way this can fail. As I said, the purpose is to, I mean, it's like when the telephone company runs fiber optic lines a block from your house, but not to your house. We have the technology in the government. We have it. The people don't. And they're sitting there looking across the street at our technology saying, why don't we have some of that? And then we're throwing it away. So I understand the SWOT analysis, but approaching a business from this standpoint, from a humanitarian standpoint, it can only fail if I fail. Fair question. Mhm. Correct. We can, no, we're not going to save all of it, but yes, we can in-house some of those dollars that the casino and the RBC spends on computers. We can get some of that back in this business by providing custom computers. And, then opening it up to selling computers to others as well. Any other questions?
Okay, next up is, we have I will call for a motion to accept this LLC on, Information Technology Center. Kathy, motion, second by Umzi, all in favor? Motion carries. Yeah. You want to put that in a motion? Well, we're going to approve his recommendations too in this presentation. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up is Joe, Tanika, and Richard. So come on down, guys. Motion to approve the recommendations. Alan, second. Kathy, all in favor? Aye, motion carries. So, thank you. Okay, here you go, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you for waiting. I know the guys here that, they've been waiting all day. They had a good taco, so I know they're not too mad. So I know that Joe's bringing along a special guest from, west of us, and his expertise is in the hemp manufacturing and also planning and processing. And I think he has a lot of good stuff that he's going to talk to us about. His name is Richard Bighorn? Tall Bear. Okay, I'm sorry. I was close. Thanks, Rich.
Hello, my name is Joe Tanika. I work with the Economic Development Department. One of the things I've been tasked to do is to uh, bring together the hemp development for the White Earth Nation. Currently, White Earth has two pilot fields. They've been growing hemp for approximately 3 years. Um, and what they've been growing is hemp that is used for fibers. Um, when I joined the hemp committee, I suggested that we move from fibers and go directly to CBD, which would give us a greater market um, and basically bring in more money to our communities. Um, in doing so, I researched it, found Richard Talbert's businesses, and he's had developments in California as well as North and South Dakota. At this time, I'd like to, if it's working, and let him move forward with the presentation.
Hello. Um, Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for lunch. Thank you for giving me some of your time today. My company's called Red Crow Cannabis, named after my father, who was Floyd Red Crow. And my mother is Leanne Tallbear. I'm from Sisseton, Sistan Wampanoyate, and Sistan South Dakota. I had a cannabis company, medical marijuana company in California that operated under the medical marijuana law for about 4 years. And we provided medical cannabis to a nonprofit called Canna Kids that was 500 kids with cancer in California. And when the California went recreational, they got rid of their medical program. So we wanted to stay in the business, but purely for medicine. So last year I applied and got a license in North Dakota and did a 80-acre farm just south of Fargo in a town called Colfax. And I grew 80 acres of high CBD hemp and processed it. I've been consulting in the hemp and cannabis business for the last few years for my own tribe, Sisseton. We've done the second year of our hemp project. That's for fibers. And then also consultant for the Flanger Santee Sioux tribe. Last year, I helped to assist writing their tribal hemp plan that was submitted to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And on December 27th, they were the first tribe in the country to receive to have their tribal hemp plan approved by the federal government. So that was great. And on top of that, I've consulted in Minnesota for a company called Minnesota Growers and managed their harvest and processing and extraction of all of their product into CBD this year as well. So I have about 5 clients on the consulting side, and through that experience, harvested and processed about 1,000 acres now of high CBD hemp. So Joe, who I know from college, looked me up and was surprised to see what I was doing and asked my opinion on a few things that have been going on with other tribes. And he informed me about what you guys were doing. And I just told him I was available my consulting services were available this year. I'm also doing a 300-acre farm for the Flanger tribe this year. And we're creating a CBD or hemp extraction lab in their old casino as well. So I'll be heading up that effort for them. So, I guess, I guess the point I wanted to make was, I've seen what you guys have kind of been through in hemp, and I've talked with a lot of tribes in this country. And I met with your hemp group yesterday, your head of agriculture and your lawyer, and Joe. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with what you guys want to do. And what was expressed to me was that, most tribes that write a hemp plan and submit it to the USDA, now there's 18 that have been accepted now nationwide. It's all about the tribe creating a hemp grow, the tribe creating a hemp business, the tribe doing it as economic development. What was shared with me yesterday was that the tribe would like to assist the tribal members, the individual tribal members that grow, and ask for my help to create a system and a co-op. So I think what they're talking about would be an actual tribal member co-op to where the individual members could grow, and we assist them with that, and we assist them with making sure that they remain compliant with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, federal law, make sure they don't get themselves in trouble, make sure that they have the right genetics, the plants, whether that be seed or clone, and basically assist them to help them ensure their success if they want to become hemp farmers. And I thought that was real great because most tribes aren't thinking that way. They're thinking more of on just the business side. There is a lot of money to be made, not just in CBD. There's 180 molecules in the hemp plant. CBD is just one. Currently, a kilogram of CBD is selling for about $4,000. But there's another molecule in there called CBG that's being added to, it's for insomnia and appetite suppressant. That's selling for $10,000 a kilo. So every day they're discovering more and more what this plant can do. That's only 2 molecules out of 180 now that there's a market for. Separate from the molecules, there's also terpenes, which are the flavors and the smells that you see in there. Those things create essential oils, just like essential oils have mint and things like that. Those can be sold as well. So there's pretty much multiple uh, ways you can make profit off the hemp plant when you grow for oil and CBD. So, uh, you know, setting up a system to assist and make sure that the tribal members or any farmer in the area is USDA compliant, give them technical assistance and how to grow, how to prepare your land, how to process right, how to harvest it right, how to get it into the market. It is a lot of people say, you know, you just plant hemp and it grows, but it's not. It's very hard. It's very hard to grow for oil. Not only that, it's hard to harvest, it's hard to preserve it, it's hard to dry it, then to get it to market, turn into CBD, and then get it into end products is hard as well. So that's what I'm offering is my services as a consultant to help the tribe through that process and make sure that everybody's successful and actually has a market for their product at the end. So there's no waste in plants, there's no waste in money, and you know everybody can enjoy some profit at the end of the day. So that's what I do. I realize there are probably a lot of questions. There always is about hemp and CBD. So I'd like to take some time answering any questions you all might have. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, all of those costs are changing every day. A lot of people invested in equipment that didn't work because when you and if you're talking about fibers, I grow for oil. So CBD, the if you could imagine this, the stalk is 3 to 4 inches thick. So a lot of the equipment that they built didn't work. So just like medical marijuana, when you grow for CBD, it's a lot of TLC, it's a lot of hand labor, it's hand harvesting. It's you have to windrow at the end to get the heat out of it, and the capital cost, you know, you can, depending on, you can do your own math. I've seen a harvester cost $100,000 that broke in the field, but I hired 45 natives last year from Sisseton and put them in a school bus, and we went and harvested for $60,000, and it gave these guys jobs for 6 weeks. 45 kids from 18 to 25 years old stayed in the hotel, and they're out there harvesting every day. So, you know, it depends on where you direct that money and what hemp is for. You know, the bottom line isn't what's important when tribes do hemp. As long as you make money and cover your costs, but providing jobs. That's what I believe hemp is for, and the benefit to the tribe. Providing jobs, plant knowledge, learning how to grow, you know, learning how to grow plants, eventually growing your own food. There's a lot of other benefits for tribes and individuals getting into planting and growing. The specific costs you're talking about, you know, you could say $10 per 100 acres. So the price of CBD has fluctuated. So this is how you're paid for hemp. If you buy a seed or a clone and they tell you it's 15% CBD, so how the market purchases it, they give you a price per percentage point per pound. So if you're a good grower, you're going to hit that 15%. I got paid $4 a percentage point for 18% THC per pound. So I was up around $60 a pound. Per acre, you're talking 3,000 to 5,000 pounds per acre. So a lot of people say the market's going to go down. Some spreadsheets that I've done, I get it all the way down to $20 a pound because I really believe that, you know, you're going to be at about $1.25 per percentage point for CBD. So even at $1.25, which is, you know, most people can't grow like that. Most people have irrigation costs, high labor costs, tax costs. There's a lot of competitive advantages for a tribe, especially in Minnesota where this is all non-irrigated cropland. And everybody right now in the business in California, Arizona, Florida, they're all irrigated. They all have $1 million water systems they need for their crop. You know, here I didn't spend any money on my irrigation last year. I just used dry fertilizer at the beginning after soil test, and I just let them go. You have to keep the weeds down, so your continuing cost might be tilling 3 or 4 times a year, whatever that costs, and some manual labor to come out. If you go by seed, you got to identify the males, and you're going to get about 5% of males out of 100% of your seed. If you use plant clones, you're going to get all female plants. You don't have to hunt the males and take them out. So a lot of things are changing. The costs are going down, but as well as the profit. So it's going to be sort of a race to the bottom. You know, you're going to have to be successful. You're going to have to be a large landowner, very large landowner. You're going to have to develop a nursery. You can start making your own seed. You can start making your own plants. So that cost, you're bringing down those startup costs once you do that. So the the seed after year 2, we'll be producing our own seed. You know, so go ahead. Yeah, yeah, and that's for fibers. You know, they're even we bought seed from Italy for persistence, and it was expensive. You know, and the return on fiber hemp is not there yet. It's just not there. It's less than 1,000, maybe $500 an acre. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. It is, you know, and those seed dropped as well. Yeah, and even in the CBD seed price, last year seed was at $3 to $4 a seed. This year, 50 cents to 35 cents a seed. So it is changing dramatically because so many people got into hemp this year and started growing. So we're seeing all the prices drop, the startup cost price drop. You know, I myself personally, I bought 50,000 plants and I paid $3.50 each. Now those plants would be less than $1 just in 1 year. So, you know, if you're talking startup cost, we're planting about 1,500 plants per acre, 5 to 6 foot grid, and you give each plant about 5 or 6 feet all around it. So you're talking, you know, now $800 per acre for the seed. So it's getting a lot more affordable because of competition in the business. There's a lot of people, you know, in a room this size, you could create 10 million seeds. So there's people doing that, and it's driven the price down, which has to happen, you know, for people to get into it with a lot of land, you know, and it's not just a 1 or 2 acre thing anymore. You know, I harvested 800 acres in southern Minnesota this past year, you know, so it's and those are one of the biggest providers of CBD in the state and the Midwest. So that I work for. Yeah, CBD oil. You can pulverize that biomass and use it for plant bedding and things like that, animal bedding. Um, you know, we like to use it and mulch it back into the soil. So it provides nutrients back into your soil after. But mainly this type of plant here, it's for the bud. You know, there's no THC in it. It doesn't get anybody high, but it takes care of pain. It takes care of anxiety and a lot of other things that there's a market for. So you end up doing your harvest a little later than traditional farmers in the area. You're doing your harvest right around Halloween. So you got to get that first frost, which initiates creation of the oil around the plant. protects it from the cold. And that's where all your profit is in there. So, you know how, and you have to protect yourself. Even with the 0.3, I tested at 0.2% THC. I tested every day. So I'm watching my CBD amount percentage go up, and I'm watching my THC percentage go up. And when it got close to 0.25, that's when I harvested. So, you know, you have to monitor. It's a business, and there's risk involved, so you have to mitigate that risk. And if you're testing every day, you're not going to get yourself in trouble. Yeah. You know, well, it's at scale, right? The big guys that have dropped their price, they're on, I would say, 7 generations of that seed. It's not hard to create seed. So, yes, they were killing it a year ago, but they're not going to get out of the business. They're still creating 10, 20 million seeds in the same square foot building that they were creating before. So, yeah, it's tough for them, but that's competition. That's business, you know. Yeah, CBD has dropped at the same time, but comparatively to any other agricultural crop, it's 10 to 20x still. So people are investing, taking loans, doing corn and beans. You know, it's kind of a no-brainer to do something that pays 20, 25% more than that. You know, so luckily we probably will never get down to that amount because the people are paying a high price for CBD. I don't know if you've seen the products out there, but in a $50 tincture, there's only 30 milligrams in there of CBD. Milligrams, not even a gram. So there's people are making a killing on the retail side, and that's kind of stayed the same. That hasn't dropped. The retail prices have not dropped. So people within the business that are buying from farmers, right? They're the ones that are making the most money, making the added value products at the end. So they're the ones that kind of force the farmer and the seed people to drop their price. And, you know, that's business. If we create a product and you could sell it for half as much than the next guy, you should do it because then you'll take his business. So that's a lot what's happening right now. And not only that, people that grew CBD last year, this year are growing CBG. The CBG is now 10,000 a kilo as compared to 2,000 for CBD. CBN you have now 8,000 a kilo. So the Veterans Administration has an RFO out right now for CBN, which is great for PTSD, for insomnia, for things like that veterans go through. And that all of those other molecules were never on the scheduled list. Only THC was. So a lot of these other molecules, there is no regulation around, but they have tremendous health benefits and they're valuable now. So, you know, creating a system where you know, a breeding plan where you can start breeding each one of those, as those cannabinoids gain value in the market, you can switch up your plants to breed them to provide for that market. So it's a great plant, and it's really it can respond to any kind of market forces, price drop, or whatever. You know, my crop, the lowest price I've seen is about $40 a pound this past year. So, and you know, a lot of people plant hemp. A lot of people planted it, but now 20% of that people that planted it actually got it harvested, processed, turned into CBD. So there's a lot of losers in the business because a regular farmer just can't jump into that business. They need technical assistance. They need help, and that's what this plan for White Earth will entail, to bring some expertise to the independent farmers so they don't make those mistakes. They don't get themselves in trouble, you know, and that's what you have to establish first. You know, I could just farm 1,000 acres myself and just do that. But my whole career, I worked with tribes, and I believe in tribal economic development. My mother's got a long career in working with many tribes, and my father as well. So I was on the National Board of Directors for the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development for 6 years, and that was what I did on that board was help tribes create businesses and create economic development. So I'm committed to, this plant and working with tribes, and that's why I was so happy to hear that Whiter School was helping the individual, not just creating a tribal business where the tribe is in control of everything on their land. They are going to do a grow like that, but when you look at what the USDA and the law says, it says that tribes can regulate him and license individuals on their land. It doesn't say tribe go out and create and you take over and do the whole business yourself. It says you regulate your members, you regulate even non-members on your land. So there's opportunity all around in that scenario. 100 acres is a very large. 100 acres. So there's a company I worked for called Spectrum CBD out of France. They had 100 acres in southern Minnesota. I did their grow and their harvesting. They came out with 250,000 pounds and sold it for $55 a pound. So that's a lot. That took 50 people, 2 weeks to harvest by hand. It took 27 reefer trucks to fill up. So there's cost to that at the end of the harvest. Luckily, they had a place to take it. They had a buyer, and most people wouldn't get into hemp without the buyer. That's the mistake people made last year. This year, CBD companies are looking for growers that know what they're doing, because what they experienced last year was the farmer. Imagine if you're a farmer and you take out a loan or you take out of your savings and you buy seed and the guy told you it was 18%. So you grow it, you make mistakes, your plant comes out at 5%. You're going to be pretty upset. Not only are you going to be upset, not only are you going to be upset, but the people that extract it, it costs just as much to extract 18% biomass plant as it does a 5% plant. So right now, extraction companies and CBD companies are looking for people that will know what they're doing first and will also commit to providing an exclusive relationship to them for their product. So I do bring to the table up to 2,000 acres of bandwidth I have with a company called Casmira, and they'll purchase up to 2,000 acres of biomass from me, or if I'm involved, or it tests over 15%. So one of the biggest problems they encountered was when you buy product from multiple farmers. Like I said, one guy will have 5%, next guy will have 10, this guy will have 18, but it costs you the same to process it. So you're actually losing a lot of money on when people make mistakes or they harvest early, they didn't pick the right genetic for the right area. There's just so many variables in there that, what we really need to do is create a system that protects financially the individual as well, and their investment. So that's the second half of the business, like it's easy to plant, but it took 100 years for these corn farmers and these bean farmers to have their co-ops, right? Their market that goes all the way to China. And that's what's starting now with CBD. So we could to be part of that and building that infrastructure is what I'm talking about, and getting your farmers to be part of that. And it's a new thing. Everybody has heard about it. It's very real. And, we expect it to keep growing, keep growing. Well, I love the plant. I got into CBD in California because my father had leukemia, and I had to get a license to go in the dispensary and buy his marijuana. So I would have to go do it, and then with that license, it gave me the legal ability to grow. And when I looked at it, I had the legal ability to grow 99 plants. So I did it, and this was medical marijuana, of course. But it was 3,000 a pound, and I grew 99 2-pound plants. So that's what at the height of it, and that's how I got into it basically. So. Oh yeah, I've grown more medical marijuana than hemp, actually. So I could pull up some pictures of my grow in California to show, you know. But those pictures that you have there, that's all my facility in Southern California. So I think, like, from what we hear in the industry, is that this year Donald Trump is going to legalize THC and medical marijuana before the Democrats get in or potentially get in and do it. So I think developing farms now, because once medical marijuana goes federally legal, we just switch out the plants. That's it. It's very simple, you know. Not only that, medical marijuana is better for plant cloning, so we could start with 10, and over the winter, at the end of the winter, you're going to have 100,000, because you can keep cloning your plant, and that also mitigates risk. You know, in hemp, when you do cloning, so we could give the individual tribal member cloned hemp plants that we know 100% sure they have no THC in them. How else do you know unless you have a plant clone that's genetically a copy? And that's part of the plan that I would help create within the tribe to protect the individual farmer. So. Well, it's going to be a huge market, you know. It's not only that, I mean, medical marijuana is worldwide. You know, if you look, the country of Germany right now is looking for 60 tons of medical marijuana a year. And they want to get it from either Canada or the United States. So there's going to be international export of medical marijuana all over the world. Yeah, right. But I mean, you know, it comes down to those people, you know, that are keeping the retail cost high. You know, you guys have such an advantage because you're a major landowner, you don't have to irrigate, and you control the regulatory process and the law. You know, if I control the town in California, I could give myself a license for recreational marijuana and be a billionaire. You know, and I think Minnesota is going to come that way all around. I think it's unstoppable now. You know, and that's the competitive advantage inherent with the tribe is their land base and their regulatory authority. Yep. Oh. Yeah.
We're all kind of excited about this, and, you know, in the council, you know, we've always been kind of pro hemp, but, you know, with marijuana coming around the corners, I think this is where a lot of us kind of, we raise our eyebrows because at one time we were kind of really down that road. But I think it's important, and I know I got our CFO looking at the contract, and, you know, I think that we were almost ready to make a motion and a second today, but we give us till like next Tuesday to have legal look at this and look at some of the stuff. And yeah, and one of the questions that we looked at too is the 25 acres. Could we expand that? Would that make your contract go high? Yeah. Okay.
only, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm full support of what's being said. It's just procedurally, just our process is we always run things through like the CFO and then the legal department and that at least give them, because I know these guys are gonna meet on Tuesday. So I think everything looks good according to the lawyers. Everything looks good. So we'll just wait till, just route it to the legal office and then on Tuesday, these guys will revisit it. Sound good? Sound good? Yeah.
So how long have you been? 2 years. Yeah. And just, we actually sued the USDA last year because they, remember last year they passed the law, but they didn't let them go. So we went to federal court and sued the USDA last year, yeah.
My nephew, his friend was, he was on the council. His name is John Roy, and he was on the council, he got voted. But, look at him, look how many big buildup are being, you know, and he had marijuana already go.
I know JP really well.
Oh, do you
I've known him
know?
since I was a little kid, yeah. My grandma's from Flint.
All right, well, thank you, Richard. We appreciate it. We got, we'll bring it up at the next meeting. I think Tuesday we'll have a special meeting for the signature requests. We have all those to do. So our next special meeting will be on Tuesday. So, I'd like to appreciate everybody for hanging in there and staying all day. And, you know, if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact our offices, you know. So, I make the motion to adjourn. Kathy, motion. Second by Ray, all in favor? Motion carries. Well, I like to say, good. Thank you, Nick. You guys have a safe trip home. Charles, we good? Yep.